I found a really cool new solo tool that comes in the size of a pocket booklet, and I really want to share it with you guys. So, let's break it down. Hi, hello everybody, my name is Turk. Welcome back to the Grouch Couch. Around here we do all different kinds of weird TTRPG things, but today we're breaking down the oracle that gives you the juice. We're breaking down the Juice Oracle. This bad boy right here is a miniature pocket fold oracle for solo RPGs, and it's meant to kind of like juice up Mythic GME or other kinds of oracles that you might be using, right? It's meant to add to everything that you already have going on, and I think it's super cool, and honestly I plan on using it in the future a whole bunch because it's that cool. So we're gonna take a look at this thing. It comes with instructions and all other kinds of fun little stuff, and we're just gonna break this dang old thing down. So before I get in too deep, just so you know, you can get this bad boy over on itch.io. It looks like this, and currently you could just download it. It's free. It's a free little oracle for you to just get and use. It's fantastic. Recently it was just updated. I'm actually in the Mythic GME Discord, and the creator of this said, hey, I updated it, and I was like, oh, well, I'm gonna make a dang old video on it because it's awesome. So here we are. But it comes with random events, immersion events, challenge and DC generation, pay the price stuff for Ironsworn, which is really fun if you're fans of that, but it's also kind of like supplemented for D&D 5e and for Ironsworn. But honestly, you can use this bad boy for any kind of oracle things that you want to use it for, especially if you're a seasoned solo player and you know what you're doing. This thing right here is going to be handy dandy for you to have. Before we get into the top-down camera and I show you how I made this thing, I just want to give you a little bit of an example here on a little bit of a bigger zoom PDF. Look at all of these fantastic oracles. It's just like words whenever you have it in this format. Just like, obviously they made it over on Homebrewery, which I'm a fan of Homebrewery. I've made some stuff of my own over there, and they have a really cool coding system. It's not easy though, so hats off to you to figuring out how to use Homebrewery to make something this very, very cool. Yes. All right, let's get into the top-down camera. I'm going to show you how I made this thing, and then we're going to go through the instructions. All right, so, I mean, it's just a tiny little booklet. This is a single piece of A5 paper that I used my printer just to print it out. This is a single piece of paper, and I'll actually show you later, but the instruction PDF that it comes with shows you how to print it out and fold it up the way that he meant for it to. Of course, you could fold it up any way that you want. You could probably actually do some double-sided extra little paper things to make it even more fancy, but this is the way that they included with the instructions, and it opens up this way, which is really fun and nice. You've got all your extra little stuff in there, and then it opens up again, right? You've got some more stuff in there, and it opens up this way, which is also really cool. But in the instructions, it actually tells you to cut a little slice down the middle of one of the pages because this folds out this way, which is so cool. Or if you're feeling fancy, you could actually fold it out this way. And it's cool because you have access to every page while you're folding it. You can just unfold it, and it's honestly really cool. I was thinking, personally, if you have one of those customizable Dungeon Master screens, you could actually put this right inside of your Dungeon Master screen, or you could even leave it like that if you want to. But I was like, those cool like slip mat DM screens, you could for sure utilize this in that 100%. That's the whole thing I was thinking the whole time. But that's pretty much how I made it. You just print it out. I used like 1200 DPI when I printed it out because the words are so tiny. So it did take a little while to print. And then I just printed it on double-sided and folded it up and cut it up. And you can also see my printer decided not to print this side right here. So I actually went to the PDF and I just took a pen and just wrote it in myself because I didn't want to print it again. I could have printed it again, but I just didn't. And so it's relevant on this side of the page as well. But it's still very, very cool. So let's talk about what's in here. We might actually do some dice rolling and stuff as well. But first, let's go over to the instructions. So the instruction that the creator includes is honestly really helpful. So they have a whole introduction about how they've been trying to use their own oracle for a long time to be a travel-friendly and minimal yet versatile and complete little dense collection of generic tables. And honestly, I think that they have 100% achieved that here. If you're familiar with Mythic, this oracle will be easy to use. It provides alternate variations from Mythic components. So the fate checks, the random events, and the scenes and transitions, it does actually include that, and we'll cover that a little bit more when we go back to the top-down camera. So, as a disclaimer, I'm not a professional. I don't have an editor. I don't have proper layout software. This document was written over a long period of time. And so I really kind of want to point out the fact that this was just a little thing made out of love for the craft that we do. It was made out of love for the things that we play. And you could even tell because it's just on itch.io for free. So I know for a fact the creator's just like, I just want people to use this. I hope that it helps them out in their solo games. That's the vibes that I get from this. Like, I took the time to make it and I hope you enjoy it. Like, that's literally what it is. I even think in the Discord when they posted it, they were like, here's my contribution to the solo gaming world. I hope you guys enjoy it. Sick. It's such a cool attitude to have. Thank you so much for this, my friend. So it has a whole printing preparation thing in here, which I did follow step by step. So if you want to get this bad boy, you'll follow it step by step as well. Shows you how to fold it, shows you how to cut it and everything else. And it's, yeah, it turns out pretty sweet. I'm sure you could fold it and do it your own way if you want, but this is what the creator provides. And even in here, he's like, look, I have an office printer, and I just kind of like, here's my experience. I hope it helps. I love that so much. I love that kind of attitude. Yeah. So what do you need to use the juice? We're juicing up Mythic, right? And that's kind of the impression that I'm getting here. Pretty much, I think you could use this just with any kind of solo game, but he does include like a way to be able to play it without anything else, right? Like a D20 isn't required. It could be handy because there are some D20 roll charts in there. But it does say it was designed to be used alongside Ironsworn, and as such, I've used my best to stick the same dice that Ironsworn uses. So if you are an Ironsworn player, I've done Ironsworn, I did Starforged. I wasn't the biggest fan of it, but I can see the appeal. So good on you, you've got this. But yes, the Fate dice can be a problem. They aren't as common. Most people who play D&D 5e probably don't have a set. Fear not, there are ways around this, and they include a fun little way to be able to get around using Fate dice, which is very cool. But again, I think a lot of the stuff in here, it's kind of just like everything is numbered. So we can just look at the numbers and just be like, okay, that's what we're rolling. Fair enough. But if this is something you're interested in, I love the fact that he has included instructions on how to use this thing in all these different kinds of systems. Even with the phone app for the Fate game, very cool. I actually do have Fate dice that I've never used or played with. So then we go into some other stuff about the other kinds of games. Again, I really like how he included all of these stuff, even like a little Ironsworn mini way. I think you could just play using this with the idea of Ironsworn is kind of the goal. As awesome as Winsome is, I didn't particularly like the terminology changes. Made it difficult for me, so I translated it. Love that so much. Also, this thing comes with its own handy dandy yes and no oracle, which I think is cool. So like if you are playing on the fly, like if you're at work, sitting in the break room and you've got this in your pocket and a pair of dice, you could theoretically sit and just play some little role play stuff quietly by yourself. Like you could do that, and I think that this is very, very cool. Of course, for me in my head, I have my own like 100% oracle that I've been using with Mythic forever, and it's kind of stuck in there, so it's always hard for me to learn a new yes or no or improbable oracle, but it's very, very, very cool. And it also goes into more details about Ironsworn and doing stuff like that. Troublesome, dangerous, formidable, and extreme, and I think that that's very, very cool. But it also has tips on D&D 5e. And soloing, it says soloing 5e isn't that much different than soloing any other system. The challenge procedure detailed later. Yeah, I agree that. I have videos about soloing anything you absolutely want to, really truthfully. And with something like this, you could do that. It's kind of cool, honestly. And I also want to say, so now not only is Ironsworn free, but so is an Ironsworn solo supplement. There is no excuse not to solo Ironsworn now, folks. You can do it for free. So we also have some rules on playing this as a standalone game by itself, which I think is very cool. It's got a Mythic primer, fake questions, discovering meanings, random events, lists, threads, etc. And it goes all the way down to that stuff. But one of the things I want to talk about is how this is different from Mythic. Instead of the fate chart, Juice uses a variation of fate checks with different dice that allow for more responses in a faster, more intuitive manner. It also doesn't use a chaos factor, which it's so funny to me because in my videos, I've literally said like, you don't really need the chaos factor, exactly. Sometimes I set my chaos factor to 9 and just leave it there because I want the random events. And the chaos factor has always kind of confused me a little bit here and there, so sometimes I just don't even dang old use it. So I love that other creators are like, it doesn't include that. So fun. Juice also cherry picks other features from well-known oracles, such as advantage mechanics, invalid assumptions, intensity. Juice tries to blend the freedom nature of Ironsworn with Winsome while combining some specific aspects of D&D 5e. Main innovation. So wait, is this just plagiarism? It certainly is not my intention. I did my best to credit all my sources. They did, actually. We'll get into that in a bit. If you like what you see, send your donations to Tanya so she can keep producing Mythic Magazine. I love Mythic Magazine, and I cover Mythic Magazine and all of its issues here on the channel. I'm in the D&D, the Mythic GME Discord. Yeah, it's a cool community, especially for stuff like this. Dude's like, I made this but give your money to the people where it came from. It's just cool stuff, man. That said, while a lot of this is cobbled together, there is a lot of original innovations, like the fate check, the name generator, the wilderness exploration procedure, and the encounter generator. A lot of design. I have all the notes went into these particular pieces to produce a compact set of tables and procedures that is capable as a full-blown system. I'd also like to think that combining it all together is innovation in itself. Yes, that's what I'm talking about. Because I personally think that you could, reading through this thing, you could 100% use this by itself and just play by yourself and have like a theme in your head and just kind of play, especially with all the cool innovation stuff that my friend has done here in this PDF. It's very, very cool. But as we all know, we're probably going to use this as a supplemental thing. We're going to add it in. We're going to use it with the other things that we're using. At least that's what I'm going to go for personally. Unless I want to play something on the fly. You know, like if I'm traveling to a convention and I want to sit by myself and just de-stress, I have this now where I can just roll dice and play by myself, because I do that. I feel like it's really good for mental health for me personally to just sit and roll dice and play solo stuff. So this is very, very cool. All right, so as you can see, also this PDF is 163 pages, if you didn't notice already. I'm not going to be reading every single page of this, but there is a lot of really cool examples in here and other kinds of fun stuff that our friend has included. So if you're interested in this, he recently updated it with all this fun stuff. So whenever you download it, have it free to look through and check it out. You're not losing anything by downloading this bad boy. You know what I mean? Just make sure to leave a rating, give a shout out, you know, whenever you use it, because obviously time and love was spent and put into this. And I love things where it's just for the love of the game, you know? And I think that this is very, very cool. But it also, yeah, general tips and tables. But what I did want to show before we go back to the top-down camera is the credits this Oracle is based heavily off of. And all of these things are hyperlinked, which is very, very cool. And I love that you did the credits in this, my friend, but this is honestly kind of like a really cool resource list. You've assembled a very cool resource list for people just getting into solo. They can use this list to look up other things they might want to try out and play and test, and it's kind of cool. Even like the Solo Adventurers Toolbox, I have that and I recommend that. It's very cool. Uni's in here. It's very, very cool. So you've assembled a very fun resource list. And I'm sorry, there is more. I did my best, but it's inevitable that I might have missed some, but credits go to all these folks. We love that. He also included his own random adventure in here for you to read as an example. Very sick. So let's roll a couple dice. Let's walk through what is on offer here, because it's kind of a lot, and I think it's very, very cool. So we do have colors, which is kind of fun if you want to roll up a color for something, and it comes in the form of a D10. And I'm going to roll some dice. I got awesome, cool new dice from Sword and Stone Hobbies. We're affiliated with them. You could use code COUCH for 10% off. Sword and Stone Hobbies, link down in description. These are super cool dice. So these are the dice I'm going to be rolling today instead of my usual orange ones. But we have colors, property, detail, and history. So like if you're rolling up something for a building necessarily, or even for a specific item, it's really honestly fun that you can do that. There's full details in here. There's also immersion. So this is the one that I'm most excited about, to have this on hand, handy dandy. What do you see? What do you hear? What do you smell? And what do you feel? Why is my focus not working today? I apologize for that. All right, there we go. That fixed her up. So I love the idea of what do you see? And I actually want to roll on this. So let's say we have a character and our character just emerged from a forest. What do we see when they emerge from the forest? That's a 2. They see something colorful. And then we're like, oh, okay, what kind of color is it? We can roll for the color. 4, something forest green. Like, okay, so we see something colorful and green, but that doesn't give us enough. So what do we smell when we emerge from the forest? That's a 5. Decay. Something ugly and green and colorful. And my first thought would be to go to a monster. And I would pull up some minis and we would see this when we emerge from the forest, because this is colorful and green. It's very cool. Also a mini I got from Sword and Stone Hobbies. It was pre-painted. It's very cool. But we could also roll, where do we see it? And what does it cause and why? And that is also very cool. Still D10s for rolling here. That's a 4. So it's in the air. So it's floating for some reason. But that's a 1, so it causes despair. There's 2 charts here for good and for bad, so it allows you to just kind of pick, because you recognize it. Oh, so our character knows this creature. It's floating in the air, and our character knows this thing, and it causes us despair for some reason. But let's move on to the next page. We've got our fate check, which is really, really cool. So we can roll yes or no's. We also have our next scenes, which we can roll on right away. It's very, very cool. And it also has the fate dice in there, which you could use. I love that you included that. It's very fun. We also have scale and result. And then we have our interrupt plot points down here, which I think could be used for more than just interrupt plot points. These are very, very cool. We've got action, tension, mystery, social, and personal. And these are all of our plot points down here on also a D10. We've got our discovery meaning tables, which you always need in everything. If you're just getting into solo playing, discovery meaning tables, get used to that phrase. You're going to hear it a lot. But one of the cool things is we also have a name generator over here on the side. And I kind of want to roll up a name. And this is actually one of those occasions where this is a D20. That is a 9, and as you can see, the printer, I didn't write in the numbers yet, so I'm just going to count it. So that's Ma, 17, Ma Gran, 18, Ma Gran Ice, Magranice. Our character's name is Magranice. Or maybe the creature's name is a Magranice. It is a floating creature of sorts. See, totally up for interpretation. We're in solo playing, so. Anyways, we also have random tables down here. We have ideas, events, persons, and objects. But one of the cool things about this as well that I really, really like is that we actually have a location chart, and this is going to be really good for like skirmish war games if you're playing those, or even if you're setting up a map, you could actually roll a D100 and you can put together where exactly your character stands on the map, and I think that is just fantastic. I don't know where our friend got this idea from, but I haven't seen this before, so this location bit is super exciting. Now we've got dungeon encounters, dungeon generators, we have objects and treasure, and these objects and treasure are like actually descriptors, so they're not like exact, and I think that that's very, very cool. So if we want to roll up an item, we'll do a D6. That's a 3, so it is a document that we've rolled up, and then we roll another D6, which I guess hypothetically you could do it at the same time, but that is a 6, so our document is a book, and then we can roll it 2 more times to figure out exactly what it is. Let's do that at the same time. A 2 and a 5. Our document is a book that is common, full of history. So it's a common history book that we find as an object or treasure. And that history book could be good for your character, could be not, we don't know. But another fun thing is we actually have this little dialogue table that I think is very, very fun. And there's settlements, wilderness, natural, and hazards. And I know you're like, what is up with all these objects? So when it folds out here, we could actually get abstract icons. So let's say we're looking at a flag, we're looking at something on a dungeon wall, we're looking at a signature or a wax stamp on a letter. This is whenever you're gonna use this, and it's kind of handy. I think it's really cool. It's crazy that 4 whole little pages were dedicated to these icons, but I think it's kind of worth it because I haven't seen nothing like this before. So honestly, this is probably part of this I'm going to use for a little while. But we could also open up this other side. We've got our NPC conversation tables, and there's also plot knowledge that NPCs can give, companion responses in dialogue topics, and it's really cool. It's a lot of text, so I know it's going to be hard to read there on camera. And obviously, this is the other page that got a little bit cut off, but this is a D100 table. It's on the other side, so I figured, fine, I don't really need to write it in there. But we have types of information twice. We also have companion responses and extended NPC dialogue. So if we roll a D100, I'll do one example real quick. Let's say an NPC is talking to us, but we're kind of like stalled. That was crazy, it flipped it. That's a 78. So the NPC now talks about the failures of the PC. So somehow this NPC we're talking to knows something that we have done that was bad, something that we failed at. And I think that that's very, very cool. Fantastic. Well, friends, I know this was a short and shiny showcase video, but I came across this and had to make a quick little video about it because it's such a cool little resource that's free and you could use it, and it's got so much handy dandy stuff in it. And I love whenever people put heart into the game. So, and if you do use it, let me know, right? And we try to showcase all different kinds of fun little stuff and things. If you think there's something out there that is super handy dandy that I should cover here on the channel, let me know down there in the comments below because I'd love to do that. And I am a solo player and have been for a little while. So if you like solo things, make sure to subscribe to the channel and hit this like video if you did find this helpful or entertaining in any way. I don't know how to end videos still, so what I will say, my friends, take a seat on the couch and roll initiative, at least for a little while. Roll on that, weirdos.